G'day everybody, Justin Hogg from Right Source. Welcome to another video talking about budgeting, which is fantastic. Now this week we're going to go a little more specific into those businesses that run projects. So whether you're putting in a large bid for work, and if you win that bid, it's going to take you a number of months to deliver on that piece of work. Now the important part of this is it'll bring some of the stuff we've learned in other videos, but it'll bring that together and understanding the impact of what happens if you win this bid, what that means to your business. Again, with the other videos we've done, I'll be going through a template where we can use this to take your bid information through to a project forecast. If you'd like a copy of that template, click the link below, put in project template or the secret password coffee, because I want a coffee right at this point in time, and I'll send you through that template. And that way we can work through it together. You can take your latest bid that you've done and change that into a project budget and understand the impact that'll have on your business. So let's dive into it and have a look at some numbers. So now what we're going to do here is we're going to go through a project bid and then turn that project bid into a project forecast or project budget. So again, if anyone wants the template, click the link below, send your details through, or the secret password of coffee, and you'll get the template sent through to you imminently. So let's work through this template, which is a bid. So it doesn't matter too much what type of industry you're in, but effectively it's the same process. You'll go through working out what costs you're going to do on the bid. So this is just an example. We're going to spend some legal fees to get things up and running. Most of the work's going to be subcontracted out. We've got some equipment to rent. What else have we got? We've got some printing to do as part of the work. We've got a consultant we're going to onboard to make sure we've got the right stuff on our advertising, some hardware to purchase to deliver it. We're going to do some advertising to get the word out. We've got some licenses because it's going to be a little stand we're going to have up and running. And then what quite often people do is you build a contingency in there, $5,000 just for other stuff that we haven't thought of. That gives us our total expenditure, and our business tends to operate, or the demo company that we're working on here, works with a markup of 30%. Again, you can change this if it's 15 or if it's 40, whatever you want. And that gives you revenue for the job and the profit you're going to make. Now, some businesses that might be all you did do in terms of your bid preparation to understand how much you're going to bid for a job. You have your pitch deck, you have your brochure, however you submit your bid, that goes in. Then say a month or however long goes and you get it, and you're like, okay, cool, now we need to execute this. What's that going to mean? This is where you start going, well, we're going to do this on top of our other business. What do we need to have in terms of cash available to do this work? And that's what the second tab here, which is your project budget. Now, our bids come through automatically, so we've now got that through. And really, this then combines the cash forecasting approach that we had, where it's like, well, okay, here's our monthly schedule of when we think the work's going to happen, and we can put through for all this work when we think we're going to be doing it. Now, our contract that we've agreed to, we've said, okay, we're going to get 10%-ish up front as a mobilization fee. We got about 50% halfway through as we started to execute it. And then towards the end, we'll get a final payment once all the work's done. So our total is equal to our revenue in our bid amount. So there's no variance there. We get all that money through. So when are we going to spend this? Okay, now it's just a matter of going through. Now some time's passed, so some of the numbers might have changed. But really what you're wanting to do is go, what's your best estimate now of what these things are going to cost, and when are you going to spend them? Not when are you going to invoice them, when are you actually going to pay for them? So the first thing is your legals and insurance, so you're going to get that in place before you start. Your labor is going to be consistent over a period of time, so that's going to be, we're pretty sure that's going to be the same because we've already subcontracted that out. We know what that agreement is. Equipment rental, when you've gone to look at that in more detail, you realize that actually needs to go for a week longer, so you're now already over budget now that you know that, starting the project, but you put it in there. Printing is going to happen towards the end. So we've got those costs there with the deposit and then the final invoice. The consulting happens towards the start of the project. Your hardware, you need to pay for it so that it gets built and delivered on time. Your social media is going to happen around here. And these are all estimates, so we can change these as you go. But this is really just to give you an initial idea of when things are going to be spent and how things are looking. So that's it. That's a very quick couple of minutes to go, well, here's our bid, this is when we're going to spend it. This then gives you your expenditure timing of when cash is going out, when you expect the cash to come in from the customer, and then this line here is your cash flow each week in terms of what's coming in and out. Below that, we then have a cumulative cash flow. This tells you, well, as that project's going, how much cash has it delivered or taken from the business? And you can see here on the third week, you've had a lot of expenditure to get stuff up and running. You haven't got that middle of the contract payment yet. So you actually have spent $90,000. So it's actually taken $90,000 out of your business in operating this project. Sure, at the end, you still get $80,000 cash in, but if you don't have $90,000 in the bank when you start this project or available to you, you're not going to be able to pay the suppliers, and quite possibly it'll delay the project or could even halt the project if, for example, you can't order that hardware in time because you don't have the cash. So this is where it allows you to go out and go, well, what cash do I need for this project, and making sure that's in place so it doesn't hold up the project. Below here, I've also got a graph of that, so you can see how your cumulative cash flow is going. So obviously here, in that third week, you got your big negative. You then again have another negative situation leading up to the final payment, which is quite consistent with a lot of projects. Even if you do get an upfront deposit, you'll still end up having done all the work before you get the final payment. So it's good to know, well, how much money will that take out of my business during that process? And that's it. That's how long it takes. That gives you quite a lot of insight into the effect that one bid or that one project will have on your business. And there's nothing stopping you actually filling in that budget before you submit the bid. Now, this is also something that can happen, especially if it's a larger bid, or it's going to have a larger cash drain on your business, so they might not want to pay you up front, is that when you do the bid, in understanding the cash requirement you need, you could actually go source the financing for that. Say you need $100,000 to operate that project. Source the funding for that and embed the cost of that finance in the bid. So that way you actually get the finance arranged, have the cost of it, and have that cost covered. So there's no cost to the business for it, and you cover your risk. So that's the process to go through for taking your bid and turning it into a project budget. Again, if you'd like the template, click the link below. Happy to send you through that template so you can use that for your bids going forward. Just put in the description project budget or the secret password coffee. Wasn't that magical? We took a bid, we took it through to seeing the impact that has on your cash, and actually the requirements that you have in terms of cash to run a project that's going to make you money. So still to understanding that time phasing and when you needed those resources. So that's really powerful, especially if you're running a project that is quite substantial. If you guys found that interesting, please hit the subscribe button. Again, if you want to copy the template, click the link below, chuck in your details, ask for the project template or the secret password coffee. And otherwise, I'll see you guys next week.